I'm Shane Gebauer with BrushyMtnBeeFarm. And this is a nucleus hive that we installed just last week. And so I want to go into this hive today to make sure my queen is okay and to decide if they need more space. Before I get into the hive, I'd like just to take a moment and say that one of the things that people do when they're just getting started in beekeeping is they overwork the hive. One way to avoid that is have an objective. So today, my objective, after having installed this a week ago, is 1, make sure my queen is laying and she's in there and everything's good, and 2, to decide if they're ready for a second story or not. I suspect that since this is an 8-frame box, and I put 5 frames from the NUC in there last week, that the other frames will be under development, especially since they were drawn comb, and they'll be ready for another story. So with that said, let's get in there and have a look. I always give a couple of puffs at the entrance, crack the cover, let that smoke disperse a little bit before diving right in. Set the cover aside. I can give a couple more puffs through the oval of the inner cover. It's unlikely that the queen would be on the underside of the inner cover, but I just always like to double check. A couple of puffs across the top bars. And remember, when we work our hives, we want to work from the outside in. The queen is generally situated in the middle. So I'm going to start with this frame. They are putting some nectar in this frame, so that's a good sign. They're out foraging, especially since we've had so much rain of late. So I'll set this one aside. Now I've got a little bit of room. I can slide this next frame over. I'm looking for either eggs or the queen. Finding the queen can sometimes be difficult, but finding eggs is much easier, even though they're very tiny and way down deep in the cells. So here you can see some brood. So that's good, that's a great sign, but that's capped brood, so that's quite old. Just because I haven't seen eggs on the first few frames is not a reason for concern. If I get all the way across and I don't see eggs, then I'll be just a little bit worried. You'll notice that the way I'm holding this frame, I've got the sun coming over my shoulder. That way it shines down into the cells. Makes it a little bit easier to see those eggs, should they be in there. Now here's some really, really young larvae. And there's also, I was hoping to see a little bit better pattern, but there's some eggs over on this side, way down deep. Notice how I'm leaving a little bit of space between these frames as I'm pulling them in and out. Since I haven't seen the queen, well, there she is, as soon as I say that. So there's our queen, so that's good. So she's in here, and the fact that I've seen eggs, and there's also just a tremendous brood pattern. This is a fantastic frame of brood. I've satisfied my one objective, which is make sure my queen is present and she's doing what she's supposed to be. And actually, here's some better eggs over here. Yeah, this is a really nice pattern of eggs all through here. We can see that. So I'll go ahead and put this back together. Now that I know where my queen is, I want to make sure I don't do anything to damage her. So I'm going to leave, she was on this side of the frame. I am going to leave just a little bit of extra space on that side. So I've satisfied my 2 objectives. The first being, is my queen there and doing what she's supposed to be? Well, I saw her and I saw eggs, so yes, she is. And 2, They've got nectar being stored in these outside frames, so they've worked out to the edges, and I want to make sure that they continue to have space. So I'm going to add another box, and in this case I'm adding a medium, so we'll call this a story and a half. Now that I've satisfied my two objectives, I'm going to seal this hive up, and I'll come back in about another week with a new set of objectives. Thanks for watching.